A lot of survivors feel deeply for the narcissist they are in a relationship with or are related to in one way or the other. They say, I know who he or she is, but I love them. What can I do to fix their situation? I understand that they are abusive, but I also understand that they have had an abusive past. What can I do to make things better? Is there any way to love them? Well, there is. And that is what I am going to share with you in this episode. I am Danish, a narcissistic abuse recovery professional, your host. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to my channel. Before we begin, a small request, please make sure to subscribe because your subscription to this channel helps in spreading awareness about narcissistic abuse. Now the main question, how do you love a narcissist? That is the topic. You cannot love a narcissist in conventional ways, meaning you cannot be there for them, you cannot give them chances, you cannot keep forgiving and forgetting, you cannot cut them a slack in any way possible or imaginable. That doesn't work. Why, you may ask? Well, you know the reason already. The more you give them the space to exist, the more they will feed on you. They are predators by nature. You are talking about domesticating a wolf. Is it possible? Maybe, but how painful is it? You can guess. So, what is the solution? How do you love a narcissist? By leaving them alone on their own. What? Yes, that is the only way to love a narcissist, and I am going to explain to you why and with evidence. As you already know, a narcissist's false self can only stay alive if it keeps getting supply from others. It is parasitic by nature. A narcissist can remain narcissistic only until they are dissociated and disconnected from their reality, from their truth. As long as they are other focused, meaning they are enabling their sense of self externally, they are never ever going to find themselves. And I think love is the highest form of energy, isn't it? When you love somebody, what do you want? You want them to be better, and sometimes that means leaving and letting go. If you want a narcissist to have a chance at life and at healing, you need to let go. The unfortunate and the painful truth is the possibility of a narcissist recognizing that there is something deeply wrong with them increases only when you leave them alone on their own. They don't like to be with themselves. They're miserable deep within. There is darkness. It's all encompassing. They are afraid of it. They know their false self won't be able to stay alive if they were to face their own truth. But that is what they need to go through. It is a process of rebirth. And for it to happen, they need to be distraction-less. It's only when they're left alone, they are forced to look within and ask reflective questions. Is there something wrong with me? Am I the common denominator here? Why was I fired from my job? Why did this person leave me? Why is there a common pattern in all of this? Now, let me not give you any false hope. I'm not talking about hope here. I'm only talking about a possibility and the most ideal way of loving them. Loving them would require your leaving them. Your absence is healing to them. And this is not just a theory. As I mentioned in the beginning, I'm going to give you evidence. I am going to talk about two experiences that confirmed what I am sharing with you. The first experience is of a narcissist with whom I had an accidental session a couple of months ago. She also brought in her sister into the session. The sister was the direct victim, the primary source of supply, and the main person was the narcissist. In the first session, there was like, yeah, I know what I'm doing and I'm wrong and I shouldn't do this. And they needed confirmation from me if the person in question was a narcissist or not. Most of the times, the person asking it is not a narcissist, you know it. But sometimes, occasionally, the person doesn't come to me asking, am I a narcissist? They already know they are. This was one of those cases. In That session, I recognized the narcissist was on the cusp of total collapse. And this was a desperate attempt made at retaining her primary source of supply. Guess who was that? The sister, the other sister, the victim one. So the conversation went on, and ultimately, I said the same thing that I told you today. If you truly love her, I told this to the victim sister, if you truly love her, you gotta leave her alone on her own. She has to take care of the burden she has been projecting on others for years now. She has to recognize all her mistakes, all her behaviors, and for as long as she keeps getting supply, she would stay blind to it. She had already decided to go no contact with a narcissistic sister, but this was almost like a mediation kind of a setting. Okay, I am willing to stay in contact with you, but here are some of the rules that you need to follow. This was the theme. And the narcissistic sister, being a narcissist and being in a desperate position, agreed to following those rules. And guess what happened next? Within a couple of months, I get to talk to this person again, but this time they are alone. There is no other sister. And they're desperate, they're crying. I told her, rather I asked her, what's going on? And there it was. The victim sister had gone full no contact with her, and she acknowledged that in the first session she was just putting on an act. She wanted her to stay, but now she's struggling a lot. Anyways, long story short, I asked her a couple of questions, one of which was, what's going on with your life right now? She said, now I am recognizing that everything that I have been so long is fake. I don't know who I am. So the way I have set up my room, it's a copy of somebody else's room. I used to mirror my sister a lot. She used to be my source of life. I used to steal her ideas. I wanted her to stay. In the last session, I faked that crying. It was just something that I knew I was expected to do, but to be honest, I was numb. I don't feel anything at all. Right now, my entire world is falling apart, and I am recognizing a lot of behaviors, a lot of things that I have done to people in the past, and I am ashamed of myself. Well, that is what needed to happen. So I suggested the same. Stay with it. You have to stay with nothingness and an absence of every source of supply if you want to truly get better. And that is where I left it. Then comes the other experience with somebody else. This was also an aware narcissist. And they were talking about the realization they had a couple of years ago. Mind you, they still had some intact big narcissistic traits, but they were aware. So this person goes on telling me how they were left alone by everybody, and they confined themselves in a dark room because they were depressed. Then they faced themselves like never before. It was a form of nemesis, a form of destruction, rebirth, but it was needed and required for them to become this aware. What you should also understand is awareness does not always guarantee change. Somebody can be aware and still be an a-hole. A tiger becomes aware of its stripes. How does it matter? What changes? Nothing. It just knows that it has those stripes. The same thing is applicable to a narcissist. For a narcissist to truly change, years and years, decades of work is required. And they have to do it on your own. It's a very lonely journey, which you and I both know no narcissist is willing to embark on. And they have to live an intentional and a deliberate life. Intentionality, that is an alien concept to a narcissist. So the chances are they are going to stay the same even with that awareness. So back to the topic. No matter how much you want to love the narcissist, how much you want to heal them, understand your presence in their life is only going to make their situation worse, not better. That's crazy, isn't it? It should make it better, but no, your support is supplied to them. They will keep taking advantage of you. Your attention is their fuel. That is what keeps the narcissistic false self alive. If you want to love them, if you truly want to gift them your love, give them your absence, and then pray and hope that may they wake up to their truth and reality, and may they recognize how destructive they are to others and to themselves. In my opinion, that is the only practical way to love a narcissist. Let me know what you think. Drop your opinions, your thoughts on this in the comments below. With that, let's bring this episode to an end. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate your presence. I'll talk to you in the next one. Until then, as always, let the healing begin and continue.